Hi, folks. It's your old buddy Chris here, and today I am with my friend Evan from No Limit Emails. And No Limit Emails has been planning in the works of updating their version of Mautic up to the latest version, which is version 5. However, while Evan was testing this software, he came across certain anomalies, certain things that we didn't experience when we were using version 4. And as it turns out, there's some things that Mautic users need to be aware of before you make the decision to go ahead and upgrade into version 5. Evan, are you there with us today?
Yes, Chris, I'm here. Uh,
Okay. This is very interesting. Mautic is an open source product that everybody trusts. And now we seem to have a little bit of a trust issue after 20, 30 years on the market. There seems to be some questions about some of the features that are in 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the size of your screen, and then you can go ahead and talk about some of these features. So go ahead.
sure. Thank you so much, Chris, for this. This is basically myself been experiencing with Moetic for last few years. I personally love it and it's great. It's working very well. And then we decided to do a test site and to kind of experiment with five, see what's what. What I'm finding by my own experience of basically using four versus comparison of five, as we are also excited if it's a good and usable that we will release it to the old installations that we have. But I keep coming across some really weird anomalies and trust issues, especially when it comes to the open source. So let me explain. This is nothing to do a pragmatic per se. This is to do just initially with this version 5, the people that they got it on board, the people who got involved, the people that they got the compiler working and everything else. First of all, let me thank you for the effort, but and also let me explain why this is not open source anymore like we used to. And first of all, let's get into the editor point. They relayer the editor, use some sort of editor, and now this is the old editor that you can see, but it has many different layer to it, and now the whole thing is becomes a column and a lot of different issues with it. But the main issues are not about component editing or compiling whatnot. The main security issue for me is when you click on editor and you're going to edit in here, as soon as you click on anywhere else, you have this little pop-up. It says powered by CKEditor. I don't mind whatever is powered by, but this should not really redirect me using open source to this somewhere else. And when we click on it, and let's click on it, see what happens. So you see the CKEditor now took me to this CKEditor, and then is Medium and is a referral, equal referral campaign, and they're running campaign on the editor of Moetic open source. To me, this is not open source. This is becomes a private advertising platform. Is not open source anymore, and therefore is dangerous because as an editor is running my own server and feeding back all the information that I'm editing in here to this other server in here and redirecting to that. And therefore, really, in my opinion, do not change to version 5 till you see this issues are resolved. Also, many components really just doesn't work with it. And for me, I personally love Moetic open source. I like to have a access to open source that is clean as genuinely is open source, not a private network for a certain group of people in the world or certain tools of the world out there. And I personally dislike it, and I will not really use it for myself or the network that we provide. And therefore, I am warning everybody, just check out before on a test site and see what part really you like, what part you dislike, and you can also find that out for yourself, what I'm showing you in here. And that being said, this is what I can conclude about really Mautic 5 editor. Is literally, in my own humble, honest opinion, it becomes a spy tool, and therefore I am not recommending this version 5 to anyone in the world to use.
So let me see if we can encapsulate what you're saying here. When you go to edit anymore with one of the themes that are in Mautic that are preloaded into Mautic, it automatically Mautic 5 forces you to use their editor. Is that correct?
Yeah, because it's basically it's reframed, recompiled on top of the Mautic core. So in my
Huh.
view, is they actually hijacked the Mautic core, turned the Mautic core to private, basically advertising for themselves. So let's go back on the UI. I can show you. So we have added, they have added quite a few templates. They took away some
Hey,
old
Evan,
templates.
1 second before you go any further. If I'm using marketing messaging for in-house sales information and company information on a secured internal server, but I'm using the defaults, the editable uh, things that the templates that they give me. Is that included in marketing messages as well too?
Everything. Like let's say I go create
Everything. So
marketing messages. So
company information I have that is very particularly end of year coming, financial stuff, all kinds of things that are going through pay raise reviews and so forth coming up because it's the end of
right.
the year. This stuff is now going to be available to the people because they basically put a keylogger in in an open source system that everybody thought was safe and was secure.
Yeah, exactly. So again, like on the component of marketing message internal, you can see again as soon as you hit the editor and is again is redirect, read the actual URL. Once more, it goes to the campaign that is run by
Wow.
whoever it is. So it's
Wow.
literally Moetic 5 is being hijacked. Moetic network is being hijacked by these guys. I don't know who they are, how they got here, and who they kind of like employed to actually get this in place. What decisions being made to do this in this way? Unfortunately, is not something that I personally want to use, and I personally don't want anybody else to use when we have version 5 or version 4 that really doesn't do anything like that. And you yourself using version 4 doesn't have anything like this. So we are worried, and that obviously open source elements being taken away from the public, and therefore I like to launch a petition to destroy version 5 of Moetic, bring it back to the version 5, to the core elements of Moetic, what's supposed to be open source, uh, works for the people, not for one company. That's my view.
Of all the companies out there that are using Mautic, this giving this company the power that they have, not only local here in the United States where I'm at, or in Portugal where Evan is, we're talking worldwide. People all over the world that are now using Mautic are now, it is not secure anymore. Your information is being shared by some third party company that for some reason or other is involved and worked into the inner workings of Mautic to such a degree that they're actually able to put in their product as the default to be used. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. And that is absolutely unacceptable. I agree with you 1,000%, Evan. This should be boycotted. This version of 5, the way that it is, should be boycotted by other Mautic users that are out there. I use Mautic. I love Mautic. I think it's a fantastic product and a fantastic platform. But now that I know that it's compromised, I've really been torn between whether I wanted to go from 4 up to 5. That made my answer easy. My only question is, I have been watching YouTube videos and reading articles about Mautic 5 now for several months. why is it, do you think, that there's no other persons out there that are using this that caught this or have complained about this?
To be honest, I really don't know that reason or their reason. All I know is my own reasons, my own experience, and I'm highlighting what I'm finding out. And what I'm finding out, I think, is literally is just Moetic open source being taken away. It becomes a private network for Checkpoint Editor, and therefore, I highly recommend nobody use the version 5. Use version 2, version 3, version 4. If you're asking for stable version 4, we can give you stable version 4 ourselves. We have been using version 4 for the last few years. It's never had any flaws, never had any of these issues or redirects within our server to someone else without our permission. And therefore, for myself, as a personal user of it, well as provider to yourself and somebody else to utilize for, and we see big difference and big kind of vulnerabilities, well as a lot of missing elements, and it doesn't work. And of course, we all already, I personally made a complaint in the Moetic forum. Seems nobody talking about it. I don't know, many people still kind of they're using it for, they just don't bother. But whoever is utilizing it, not saying anything, because literally nothing positive. I personally had feedback from the community of Moetic itself, and I'm active on that forum, as you all know, and nobody seems like know what's going on within the Moetic anymore. The whole ecosystem change, whole infrastructure of governance change has been genuinely, in my personal humble opinion, has been hijacked. So I don't know if his checkpoint actually hired people or they just found this to add it, as if like there is no other editor exist in the world to work with it, which is we have a great JS editor that never had an issue. They never redirected to them. And why this is redirects in my dashboard to somewhere else, my own private server, I just don't get an idea. I just don't get it. And if they don't have a malicious intent, why is it this button is always redirecting as a campaign, as a referral, and it's to somewhere else by the check editor, right? So this is
Well,
what's my worry is.
um, but I don't have any problem continuing to use number four. Evan, your install of version 4 is very stable, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys using our version 4 and doesn't have that kind of issues, don't have anything like that,
Well,
right?
right. Will you make that version available for folks that request it from you?
If they
So,
request it, for sure we can.
yeah, because I think a lot of people that have jumped to 5 now say, "Uh-oh, I really need something that I know that works." Evan's company at least puts time towards their end. I don't want to be cheated again. Um, not saying that what they're doing is cheating again, just saying that what they're doing certainly is not businessly ethical. But if they would contact Evan at nolimitemails.com and tell him that you're looking for a clean version of Mautic, perhaps you can work out something with him. He'll be happy to get one over to you or help you out. Is that fair to
I
say,
mean,
Evan?
sure. I mean, you guys been working with our version, as you see, is literally doesn't have this kind of issues.
It's great.
Uh, so we can give it to really anybody that want to kind of really run a good email clean version of Moetic, not like with this. So you guys know like what's going on, all right? That's the whole
Right.
idea. Obviously, I'm revealing everything, and I'm revealing everything that is faulty with this thing,
Yeah. This is
and
something.
it doesn't really apply to principle of open source anymore.
No.
And that's what really upsets me most. It's not about really somebody directing us with something. It's not about that. It's about genuinely somebody's hijacked open source for benefit of somebody else,
Right.
not for benefit of everybody. And that's the
For the
problem.
personal benefit, for the personal financial benefit, not
Yep.
for any other reason but to make a buck. And that's the thing that's criminal about it. A product that has been open source for decades now has been compromised. Just somebody looking to make 10 cents for every click. Ridiculous. All right, I'm going to go ahead and
That's right.
end this YouTube video right now. You can see this posted over on YouTube. If you like the content, go ahead and share it and click the notification. And hopefully we'll do more. And as we find out more, Evan and I, and Dougie and Barb, if you wish to join in, we'll be able to share what we found. So in that case, I wish all of you a good evening and be careful and do not install Mautic 5 until we get to the bottom of this, okay? Buyer beware. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.